Hey, what's going on, Noel Nation? It's CJ Wilson here with DoakTalk. I'm your host. I hope you guys are staying warm throughout the country as this cold front is pretty much taking over the entire country, aside from the West Coast. Hope you guys are staying warm through this early January winter storm, so to speak. I got people up in Georgia and Atlanta area that's being snowed in at the time, which is kind of unprecedented for the area. So just want to make sure you guys are staying warm and safe during this cold front. As you guys know, signing day is a little different nowadays. The big signing day is in December. The typical huge signing day where your classes are kind of wrapped up is in December, right? The early signing day period is what they call it. The traditional signing day is typically in February, the second, the first Wednesday in February, if I'm not mistaken. That's your usual signing day, and FSU still isn't done trying to add pieces to their 2025 recruiting class and to solidify those guys within that February signing day to put a bow on the 2025 recruiting class. FSU is going to be hosting a few prospects this upcoming weekend for official visits. Like I said, they're not done yet. They're still trying to wrap up a few guys for this 2025 recruiting class. But before we get into the names and things like that, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. Again, please like this video and subscribe to the DoakTalk community if you haven't already. Like I said, we cover pretty much everything, all FSU, including interviewing former players, just to talk about their playing days and things like that at FSU, and of course, during their days in the NFL and the pros. So go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't to get this information out to like-minded nodes like yourself, and also hit that subscribe button. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. FSU is hosting 3 official visitors this upcoming weekend to try to, like I said, lock down for the 2025 recruiting cycle. The first prospective athlete I want to talk about is Zahir Mathis, the pass rush specialist out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, standing at 6'6", 225 pounds. Played at the the Under Armour All American Bowl, and just looking at, he played very well in that game. Don't get me wrong. Just looking at his size, I would say he's probably more around 215ish, which isn't a problem at all. He is a top available unsigned pass rusher in the country. His 3 finalists, so to speak, that he will be taking official visits to before making his official announcement in February is FSU, Michigan, and UCLA. He's a 4-star prospect, number 73 overall in the 247 composite. He recently decommitted from Ohio State in November and has kind of been open and looking at different options since then. And FSU, within his new defensive staff, pretty much jumped right into it and been recruiting Zahir Mathis relentlessly within the last couple months. So he's going to be on campus this weekend for his official visit. Like I stated, he has a 3 of Michigan and UCLA. FSU is the first official visit of these 3, with Michigan being the last. I don't have any insider information in regards to a leader or anything like that, but just my guess, I would say Michigan would probably be the biggest threat out of the last 3, just how they've been competing on the trail as of recent, especially within the NIL area these last couple months, as they have made a big splash within, the NIL world with some of the guys they signed for the 2025 recruiting class, including the big-time quarterback out of Michigan itself. So we will have Zahir Mathis on campus this upcoming weekend. Pot Roast, Tony White have done a hell of a job in addressing the trenches, transfer portal, and high school ranks within their time at FSU, as FSU closed on 2 4-star blue chip pass rushers to close the early signing day period with flips from LSU and Ole Miss. So you got 2 pass rush defensive ends from Florida to sign with FSU. And again, you're taking those guys from SEC teams and Ole Miss and LSU. So big time gift for FSU and staff within those recruitments. But like I said, they're still not done yet in trying to add trenches. And the main thing is and it's something that FSU has to get back at. We have to add depth, right? That's something we haven't done on the offense and defensive line in the past few years. Is just stacking up talent, stacking up blue chip talent, and letting those guys develop, and then have a revolving door, so to speak, of guys being able to play instead of, you putting all your eggs in the basket on Patrick Payton, for instance, to kind of beg him to stay at FSU for the 2024 season versus entering the transfer portal and saying he's going to leave and go to certain schools, this, that, and third. If you recruit the position better, have more bodies within the room. You don't really have to be held hostage by these type of situations moving forward. And just Jesse Harold and Tylon Lee were the two pass rush specialists from Florida that we flipped to close the early signing day from SEC's caliber schools. So we'll see what FSU could do with Zahir Mathis. Like I stated, he has Michigan and UCLA on deck as well. We'll see if Tallahassee can work his magic in getting the pass rush specialist. Like I said, he is the top unsigned pass rusher within the 2025 recruiting cycle, number 73 overall within the 247 composite. Moving on to the next visitor, and this is my personal favorite. We have Antonio Cromartie Jr. He'll be on campus for his official visit. Antonio Cromartie Jr. just recently earned an offer from FSU. I want to say on Christmas Day is when FSU delivered the news that he was going to be receiving the offer. He plays for Carrollton High School up in Georgia, led the team, was a part of a team that went to the state championship, ended up falling short in the state championship. So a very good 2024 season for Cromartie Jr. This past season, he had 85 tackles, 1 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, and 4 forced fumbles for Carrollton, playing safety. He was also named to the all-regional team in the Atlanta area. And speaking to his father, Antonio, as you guys know, Antonio Cromartie Jr., his dad is, the all-world cornerback, one of the most athletic players I've seen in my day, from Tallahassee, Florida. Of course, I'm kind of familiar with Crow, and we have a relationship. So when speaking with Crow, I want to say a year ago or so like that, he was stating that he thinks Junior is going to be a real late bloomer as far as his size and things like that. As you know, Crow Sr., his size is, not necessarily his size is, but his size was one of his biggest attributes and something we've never seen at the position before. A cornerback that big and that athletic, we still really don't see that nowadays. Crow is a one-on-one, one-of-one, rare specimen, something you don't see too often, right? So with that being said, Antonio Cromartie Jr. was very undersized for the majority of his high school career. And when speaking with Crow, he was saying doctors were saying that he's going to be a late bloomer as far as his size and things like that. He's projected to be around 6'2" to 6'3", if I'm not mistaken, is what Crow told me. Long story short, you fast forward from then, which Junior was probably around 5'8" to 5'9", to now. He's sitting around 6'1", 175, a really nice prospect that's filling out. Long story short, and to kind of put a bow on all of this, he's a late bloomer as far as size and things like that. And he had a hell of a senior year, 85 tackles, like I stated, 1 interception, 4 pass breakups, playing a safety position. Really good senior film. I like what I saw of him a lot. He's physical as well, too. Doesn't mind sticking his nose in and making some tackles. So I really like this move for FSU, and I don't think he's done growing yet. Like I said, he could be around 6'2", and once he adds some weight to his frame, he could be a solid 6'2", 190, maybe 200 pounds. You never know how those things plays out. But like, then speak with Senior, a late developer, and he was projected to be around 6'2" to 6'3", just for whatever reason, late in regards to his growth spurt. But he's starting to hit that. He's around 6'1", 175 now. I really like this offer, and I think it could be a developmental piece for FSU moving forward. And once his, like I said, growth and things like that, development get into his body, it could be a really nice get for FSU. So Antonio Cromartie Jr. will be taking an official visit to FSU this weekend, a 3-star prospect out of Carrollton, Georgia. So we'll see how this visit go. I do expect, of course, his mother, Erin Wilson, she'll be on campus for the visit, and I do expect his dad, Antonio Cromartie Sr., to be on campus for this official visit as well. The last official visitor for this weekend is an offensive lineman, Chavez Thompson, the 3-star center out of Melbourne, Florida. Chavis' nickname is the Sandman, which I like a lot. I'm not sure how relevant that is to the conversation, but that's just a cool-ass nickname for an offensive lineman, right? We'll be taking an official visit to FSU this weekend. He recently committed to FIU and Willie Simmons on January the 2nd, standing at 6'1", 310 pounds. I'm not really a fan of the height. I really think he should, technically, for your prototypical centers, you want to be a little bit taller. But to be 6'1", 310, his weight is very solid. So you can mold with him as far as, developing that 310 frame and putting some more muscle on it. The kid Chavis was committed to Oregon for close to a year. He decommitted from Oregon back in April. Herb Hand, the FSU offensive line coach, offered him a scholarship at UCF. And it goes back to my take in regards to the defensive end And defensive line and Zahir Mathis. We got to stack bodies, right? Stack bodies, stack bodies. You want to add bodies to a premium. Coach Herb Hand has done a hell of a job in recruiting guys out of the transfer portal and kind of, I guess you could say, fine tuning and retooling FSU's offensive line for the 2025 season. But we have to build for the future as well. So we got to, bring in guys to develop, coach them up, and Chavez Thompson definitely fits that role. FSU is also in the mix of some more other pass rushers down the line to see if we can try to get their commitment and things like not pass rushers, offensive linemen, pass blockers, down the line to try to fit the need for FSU to build and stack those bodies up. You want to get body types, you want to get potential, you want to get ability, and stack it in their room, develop it, coach it up, and see what you have when it comes, time for those guys to play. You don't want to be in a situation where you lack for depth on any position in the trenches, offensive line and defensive line. So I do think FSU is doing a hell of a job. This new staff that is doing a hell of a job of trying to address that and add guys to the mix so FSU won't be caught in a situation where they're lacking on the defense and offensive line. So this is what we have for the this weekend as far as official visitors for FSU. It's a few more players that are in play for FSU in regards to the 2025 recruiting class. We'll touch on those guys later once they take their official visits, because it's a few more weekends prior to, like I said, that February signing day to take those official visits and kind of hone in and make your decision as far as what school you're going to choose. But make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. Tap in the DoakTalk community if you haven't already. Go Noles.